Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at the Dragon Lords, a title given only to the most powerful dragons in the New World. The title was given only to those who either reached the highest age category of dragons, which is ancient, or possessed special powers or could use wild magic. In the Age of Dragons, the Dragon Lords were the dominant species of the New World, ruling it using wild magic. But when the 6 great gods that founded the slain theocracy arrived, the wild magic became tainted in some way, and the dragons lost their ability to cast it properly. Dragons born after this time started using the tiered magic system from Yggdrasil, while those who already possessed wild magic retained it. With one exception, the dragons can only use either wild magic or tiered magic, and hence those that can use wild magic became known as the true Dragon Lords, while false Dragon Lords refer to those who only use tiered magic. Due to the sudden drastic change in the world's magic system, it's speculated that the 6 great gods used a world item to change the magic system in their favour, so that they could use their existing magic while weakening the current dominant magic of the world. It is also implied that it was the Dragon Emperor who is responsible for bringing players into the new world. In terms of their strength, it is said that at least 6 of the surviving Dragon Lords should be able to evenly rival a level 100 player, given that they have enough resources and manpower. One severe weakness they hold though is that in the same way world-class items negate the effects of other world-class items, they can also make the wielder immune to wild magic. Interestingly, the frost dragon Olasird'arc that we saw during the Dwarven Kingdom arc is a false Dragon Lord known as the White Dragon Lord. He was rather weak though, being able to cast up to tier 3 magic and only being level 46, which is less than half the level as some of the true Dragon Lords. His only known powers are Freezing Breath and the 3rd tier spell that offers him protection against his racial weakness of fire. In total, there are 3 false Dragon Lords, and of the true Dragon Lords there are 7 that are known. The first is the Swordmaster Dragon Lord, and is the weakest of the true Dragon Lords. Little is known about him other than he is said to have the mightiest tail swipes among dragonkind. The tail swipe is even stronger than the Elder Coffin Dragon Lord's tail when enhanced by his wild magic. Like his name implies, his strength lies in dealing physical damage by using his tail as a weapon. The next weakest dragon is likely the Brightness Dragon Lord. He is described as more of a scholar than a warrior, and due to his habit of breeding with other races, other Dragon Lords tend to fear and avoid him. Another side effect of his habit is that he is the great-grandfather of the leader of the Dragon Kingdom, Draudillon Orculus. In terms of his powers, his only known spell is the wild magic spell World Warping Wall, but is described as one of the strongest dragons in the New World regardless. World Warping Wall creates a teleport blocking barrier. The barrier only interferes with teleportation through it, so it is still possible to teleport within the barrier. There is also nothing stopping the opponent walking out of the barrier when they reach the edge, making it a weaker version of the spell that Platinum Dragon Lord used against Pandora's Actor. One final thing is that the tier spell Time Stop is ineffective against the Brightness Dragon Lord, and the same applies to the Elder Coffin Dragon Lord as well. Returning to his great-granddaughter, she is known as the Dark-Scaled Dragon Lord, and referred to as the only true false Dragon Lord. This title comes from the fact she is part dragon and part human, but equally able to use and cast wild magic. Being that she isn't a true blood dragon, her wild magic has a severe activation cost of around 1,000,000 souls, making it an absolute last resort. Draudillon's strength is also no greater than that of an average human, making her main power her ability to manipulate her biological physique. She often opts to take on the appearance of a young girl as it can favourably impress people regardless of age or sex. Returning to the true Dragon Lords, next is the Heavenly Dragon Lord. The Heavenly Dragon Lord is said to be comparable to a large floating island in terms of size. In fact, it is so big that it is said to possess its own ecosystem and is the biggest known entity in the New World so far. The Heavenly Dragon Lord also managed to survive the purging of the Dragon Lords, remaining alive even now. Next, we'll be taking a look at Cure Elim Los Malvar, aka the Elder Coffin Dragon Lord. Earlier it was mentioned that there was one exception to the rule of only being able to use wild or tiered magic, and Cure Elim is that exception. Cure has two different forms, the default form being an albino dragon with a snake-like head, bat-like wings, a long snake whip-like tail, and a bulgy middle. His other form is described as having 6 legs and wings attached to a snake's body, totaling 150 meters in length. It's by transforming out of his true Dragon Lord form that he is able to use tiered magic from his Necromancer class. That said, Cure despises tier magic and only uses it as a last resort. Pure Elim sits at level 95, but due to his powerful job classes he is stronger than his level implies. Equally, due to the level-based damage adjustment, his odds of victory are lower. The Elder Coffin Dragon Lord was responsible for the downfall of 4 nations when he attempted to gather millions of souls in order to fuel his strongest wild magic spell. He achieved this by using area of effect spells which would turn the residents of the nations into zombies, and is the same phenomenon that got blamed on Evileye, then known as Landfall of the 13 Heroes. Evileye only survived by subconsciously copying and using the same spell that Cure used, but to a lesser degree, turning herself into a vampire in the process. The reason Cure had to turn the nations into zombies was because he cannot use the souls of the living like other true Dragon Lords, and instead consumes all the souls in the surrounding area. Typically, an undead Dragon Lord can't use wild magic at all, but he created his own version that bypasses that restriction. If Cure were to ever run out of souls, he himself would become a mindless zombie, so he always keeps some in reserve, although he is suspected to be dead in the main storyline. In terms of his wild magic, he also has access to the World Warping Wall, just like the Brightness Dragon Lord. The spell Undead Transformation is an area of effect spell that has an estimated radius of 250 kilometers from the point of its casting, and consumes the souls of everyone within it. Those who have their souls consumed are left as mindless zombies and are thralled to Cure. Cure Elim's ace move is known as Soulbreaker Breath and is powered by said souls. Its power is said to be on par with the world-class item Longinus, and only 5 other wild magic spells are comparable to it. The spell would consume the target's soul, killing anyone without a world item in one hit and making it impossible to resurrect them. It is a single target spell that takes the form of a massive thick black beam of light. In terms of his tiered magic, he has Wall of Skeleton and Undying Flame, which causes Cure's claws and fangs to become infused with a bluish-white flame that deals negative energy and fire damage. Cure Elim's final feature is his armor made of the zombies he controls, and it fully encapsulates his body. Using Undeath Slave Sight, he can see through the eyes of the zombies that form the armor. The zombies themselves range from humans to dragons. The Coffin Dragon Lord is also the main protagonist of the Vampire Princess of the Lost Country side story. While Cure Elim is well known from her role in the side story, the most famous Dragon Lord of all is of course the Platinum Dragon Lord. The Platinum Dragon Lord now resides in the former guild base of the 8 Greed Kings. He resides there to prevent the Greed King's gear from falling into the wrong hands and has been known to lend some of the items out to help fight the evil deities. The level of the Platinum Dragon Lord's armor is below that of Cure Elim, but his actual level is unknown. He has been called the strongest Dragon Lord by Regret and the Theocracy, although there is doubt this is actually the case. His perceptions are also rather high, with him being able to see through Pandora's act as perfect unknowable, and only a few being able to sneak up on him. Those being other Dragon Lords considered to be his equals, the assassin Inzanaya and Regret. His armor is powered by his own health pool and has 6 known skills. Platinum Dragon causes physical damage to all enemies, and Utsasemi increases physical attack power and evasion. Ambition increases PDL's attack, hit rate and critical hit rate while negating physical and magic damage once. True Eyes cancels all the rising effects of a single enemy, dealing physical damage while raising PDL's own mystery gauge. And Projection causes physical damage to all enemies and causes them to bleed. And finally, Hero reduces the physical and magic damage received and increases physical attack power, but only when PDL's HP is above 20%. As for his wild magic spells, Cloak of Light emits a light from the armor with the same brightness as direct sunlight, causing momentary blindness. Normally when damage is nullified, any secondary effects of weapons are also negated, but Cloak of Light allows the secondary weapon effects to work regardless of damage nullification. World Teleportation allows the Platinum Dragonlord to teleport to a predetermined location. World Isolating Barrier is a stronger version of Cure Elim's and the Brightness Dragonlord's World Warping Wall. World Isolating Barrier creates a separate space that is separate from reality, and the wall cannot be simply walked through. The barrier also prevents people entering unless they are wild magic users themselves, or have a world-class item like Albedo did. The barrier PDL cast against Pandora's Actor was over 1 kilometer wide, and it also prevents surveillance magic or items. Ainz was only able to see in thanks to his own world item. Platinum's final spell is Unnamed Explosive Attack, which is described as an ultimate explosion that stains the world in a blinding white flash. It is also said to create a tremendous heat that would badly char anybody within its multi-kilometer area of effect. In the web novel, it is said that Shoutir took fire damage from the attack as if she didn't have any resistance, despite her immunity to fire damage. Following the Platinum Dragonlord, we have the Deep Darkness Dragonlord. Deep Darkness's offense and defense are both said to be flawless in their own right. From a 6-year-old movie pamphlet, the author confirmed that the Deep Darkness Dragon could easily beat every Floor Guardian one-on-one except Shoutir and Gargantua. Furthermore, the Deep Darkness Dragon is the only Dragonlord known to have killed a player on their own, and Deep Darkness obtained one of the 20 world items from the player's corpse. The world item itself is unknown. Finally, we have the Dragon Emperor, who is believed to be the strongest of all the Dragonlords and the father of the Platinum Dragonlord. We can assume his strength from the fact that the slain Theocracy assumed Platinum Dragonlord to be a massive threat based on his lineage alone. In Haruyama's official rankings, the Dragon Emperor was put as the strongest inhabitant of the New World, and an official tweet from him confirmed that he was above level 100 in terms of levels. And that wraps up about everything. Thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed, a like and subscribe would be greatly appreciated as it really helps the channel to grow. With all that said, thank you very much for watching and I hope you enjoyed.